And we're live.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
Well, funny you ask, Kelly, because we are totally back with another bonus episode of The Antler Queens. I'm Media Melanie, along with...
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Emily.
And today we are doing a Taissa Turner deep dive.
Yay!
But before we get started into this very complex character, we'd like to say that we actually started a Patreon, and we'd like to officially welcome our very first patrons. We have Phoenix L, Kylie B, and Lucy W. Thank you to each of you for joining. We've only had it up for a couple of days, and it's so great to have some people in there. One of the perks is everybody at most of the tiers will be able to watch the Shauna's Baby exclusive video that we have in our Patreon right now. And that audio will actually be released in about a week. So for now, patrons only. And if you would like to join our Patreon, visit patreon.com/theantlerqueens. We've got all kinds of cool perks and fun stuff happening over there. So don't miss it. And special shout out to Phoenix, who joined us at the honorary Antler Queen tier. We bow to you, Phoenix, and super appreciate your support. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Phoenix. We love you.
Yes, buzz, buzz, buzz. And, before we dive into the episode, one more thing. It's actually Emmys night. We are recording this on September 12th. Obviously, a big night for the Emmys and Yellowjackets. Girls, what do you foresee happening tonight?
I'm so out of it because I think I told you guys, I watch none of the shows other than Yellowjackets. Like, I'm all about, I watch horror movies and documentaries and Yellowjackets and the shows that I've watched a million times already. And that's pretty much it. So I'm really hoping Yellowjackets comes through. But man, I was looking at some of the nominations, and like I was thinking, 7 nominations, that's pretty awesome. But oh my God, they're like not even in the top 10.
No.
Kind of underdoggy a little bit for our Yellowjackets. The competition is very stiff. Gosh, I mean, we've got like Ozark and Better Call Saul, Succession, Squid Game. I mean, the roster is really crazy. But again, to earn 7 noms in your very first season says a
that's
lot.
Pretty awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
I'm excited. So I'm not going to be too disappointed if they don't win anything, but I mean, I don't have really high hopes because they totally got robbed on the casting.
They so did.
I don't need to watch Succession to know that they got robbed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, for real.
There's no way any show did a better job casting than Yellowjackets. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. But yeah, so if they didn't win that one, I'm kind of like, I don't have high expectations, but I'm crossing my fingers.
I'm thinking that Melanie Linsky's gonna win.
I hope so.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
I really do. Christina Ricci's competition, I feel like, is a lot stiffer than. Yeah. I mean, obviously, all of the actresses that were nominated for Best Lead Actress are great too.
Amazing.
But I just think Christina Ricci's competition is just a lot closer.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is a shame because let's face it, our MFQ is one of the best characters on television, and
she really is.
Yes, and her and Sammi Hanratty just brought Misty to life, and we'll hope for the best. But again, like they've got at least 5 seasons planned, so hopefully plenty of time to earn some Emmys if we do not win tonight.
They were nominated twice in the writing category, right?
Twice, yep, for the pilot and F Sharp, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm a little optimistic about that one too, just because they have 2 shots.
Absolutely, better chances, right? Hey.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Definitely.
Okay, well, with that, why don't we dive deep into Taissa? Of course, we have teen Taissa, played by Jasmin Savoy-Brown, and adult by the very talented Tawny Cypress. And let's start with the pilot. Emily, why don't you kick things off with a little Thai pilot discussion and where we first see her?
All right. Well, I was kind of focusing on when we first see her is when they're playing in the soccer game, right?
Yep.
And Taissa's soccer position, she's a midfielder, and I'm pretty sure she's a center midfielder, which did either of you ever play soccer?
Did not play soccer.
No. Well, the center mid is like they control the whole game. Like they steer where the ball goes. They're on both offense and defense, so they're very, very heavily involved with everything that's happening. And I think that says a lot about Taissa's personality. She's one that likes to be in charge and in control both on and off the field. And we see this when she tries to take care of the alley problem. She only intended to freeze her out, but being Taissa, I feel like she took it a step further and she ended up breaking her leg, essentially ensuring that she wouldn't be able to mess up at nationals. And we also see like this same take charge behavior when she initially suggests that they hike away from the plane after the crash to the lake and they find the cabin. So Taissa was sort of responsible for that in a way, I would say. We see it again when she leads the expedition for help and Van ends up getting mauled by the wolf. Her intentions were good, but the outcome was absolutely disastrous. Like, so bad. And the same with what happened to Allie. Like, she didn't intend to do that much damage, but she clearly did a lot of damage.
Yeah. Yes, she did. She did. And you know, her soccer position, like you said, really is a metaphor for who she is. I mean, that carries through into her career, you know, her relationship with Simone. It's very clearly establishing her as, you know, a leader. She's fierce, she's competitive and powerful. Those are three words that I would use to describe Tai.
Those are good.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, another thing from the pilot, something that I really enjoyed was when they were doing the magazine shoot. This is the first time we really see Ty's family unit. You know, we see Biscuit, we see Sammy, we see Simone, we see Ty, and a photographer. So she says, it's New Jersey Monthly, not Italian Vogue, which I thought was really funny. And then she's referred to as the queer Camilla. And I just think it's interesting. That's the starting position we see Ty and her family. And as we know, at the end of the season, the wheels completely fall off. There's Biscuit's head on an altar, Sammy's doll. Her and Simone are not even, you know, together at the moment. So where they started, where they finished, and all kinds of crazy things in between.
Yeah.
You know, I have so many questions about Taissa. I think she's the most interesting character. She is such an enigma, and there's so many layers to her, and there's so many just head scratchers in her story. And you know, it's funny because there's this dichotomy of her being not overly so, but a little bit of a control freak. You know, she's very ambitious. She likes to control every situation, and we see her very much out of control. And it's, you know, things are going good when she's in control, and I just wonder how much of that has to do with her being affected by these fugue states, which, I mean, according to her, she didn't experience much of it. Like, I mean, we'll go into more of this later, but I'm just wondering if she is as ambitious and as much of a control freak as she is, because that's just how she is, or if it's kind of like a little bit of a defense mechanism because of what she has experienced when going through her fugue states.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
It is. And, she does stay consistent throughout, in terms of being the leader, being in control, and
Yeah.
her losing control is
Mhm.
something that impacts her as well. She had told Simone she was going to step out of the race for state senator, and then got all fixated at the talk with the press and decided to
Yep.
stay in the race. And that was interesting. Did she know what she was doing?
Yeah.
It's very confusing. What triggered that?
I was going to ask if maybe you thought it was possible that we've seen her in one of these states while she was awake and we just weren't aware that that was what was happening. Like in that moment where she decides not to drop out of the race because she had that speech, she was ready to go, and then she saw the man with no eyes, and then after that,
and the word
was
spill,
like, yep, all bets were off
on the card. Yeah.
So is that an indicator that like something switched in her head or something? You know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, it's it's like she seemed pretty committed to dropping out. I mean, I'm kind of surprised. The Taissa that we're familiar with, in her normal state, I feel like her dropping out was kind of a natural progression for her. I mean, I feel like she was, it's something that she wanted to do, but I feel like she was more devoted and committed to her family.
She's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, she's reading her speech and she sees she sees that word spill, and then the man with no eyes pops up, and it was just like everything changed.
Yeah.
And she wasn't just wishy-washy when she changed her mind. I mean, she was like fueled up,
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's really interesting how she gets, like, why is she getting triggered by that? What is happening in her mind to, like, oh my God.
And, with
so
the man
interesting.
with no eyes, her grandmother saw him too, right?
Yes.
So this is something that she's not the only one seeing it. Quick comment from Twitter. Shauna's Knife today, we were talking about the man with no eyes, and she said, "I'm just waiting for him to have a musical number. Sammy, are you okay? Are you okay, Sammy?"
Yes.
And I just wanted to shout that out because obviously we referred to him as Michael Jackson before, and that is of course a play on a Michael Jackson song. So really great tweet. Thank you for that, Shauna's Knife. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, he does look a lot like Michael Jackson.
But there's some kind of trigger or tie, or something to the man with no eyes. And is Sammy seeing the man with no eyes? We know that Sammy is seeing the bad one. Is he also seeing the man with no eyes? Is this something that everyone in their family sees? We've speculated on if Sammy's biologically Ty or Simone's, which doesn't really matter, but it would be interesting if he was genetically Ty's and was seeing the man with no eyes. Is this a genetic thing? I don't know.
I also have a theory that the man with no eyes is directly connected to Taissa for some reason, and that if it weren't for her, that her grandmother might not have even seen him. So I have a theory about that, but I would like to I'd like to know more about her family. I'd like to know more about her mother. One thing another thing that interests me about her family is when they were doing the montage of them all getting ready to leave for nationals, she was coming downstairs and heading out the door, and it was kind of funny. Her dad said something like, don't forget, the most important thing is to have a good time, and she kind of like rolled her eyes. And it just, that kind of says to me, like, oh yeah, her dad's very aware of her ambitious nature.
And Her family seemed pretty normal, though, compared
Yeah.
to some of the other family scenes that we saw with Nat's family. Obviously, Misty, we don't really see any family.
Right.
So Ty's interactions, Van slapping her mom in the face,
Yeah.
you know, her family seems a little bit more normal than the rest. So, you know, does the trauma have something to do with this? Probably. But again, she saw the man with no eyes when she was a child. So this has been
Yeah.
something that's been with her prior to the plane crash.
Yeah.
Goodness. Goodness.
Yeah, I really would love to know. I wonder if they're gonna let us know next season Sammy's like if he was adopted or if he's the biological child of one of them.
Maybe we'll get that information if like a custody battle ensues.
Yeah.
Ooh, that could be. Although, do they really take that into consideration? I mean, the genetics. I don't know. I mean, if they're both his moms, so I
Yeah.
don't know if they take that into account. I don't know, but
Yeah.
Sammy is a whole subject in himself.
Oh man.
Sammy's drawings, right? I mean,
So fascinating.
where is he getting this stuff? We see all these weird circles and the eyes and the creepy person. We see his family. We see some other creepy creature with the cloud. There's definitely some things going on with Sammy's drawings.
There's one drawing that it looks like a girl being hung up and butchered, like you see Pit Girl in the pilot.
Yeah.
And another one looks like the man with no eyes. So maybe he is seeing the man with no eyes if he's drawing him.
I also kind of wonder if I have a little bit of a far-fetched theory that maybe Taissa's drawing some of them.
Well, see, I thought that too, but then in episode 2, she goes into Taissa goes into Sammy's room and she pulls the curtains back and she sees all the drawings and she says, "Why did you do this?" And Sammy says, "So she can't see me." And Taissa says, "Who?" And Sammy says, "The lady in the tree. She watches me at night." So he kind of like admitted to drawing them.
But do you think it's possible that he could have just been saying he hung them up? So he was blocking. Yeah. Why would he? I'm just I don't know.
Where did he get the idea for these drawings? Like, does he know more about Taissa and what she went through than even Taissa knows? Because I was like, how old do you think Sammy is? He can't be any older than like 8.
I was thinking about 8 years old, maybe a little bit younger.
Yeah.
A little younger. And, his behaviors too, with hurting the kid on the playground. I mean, from such a young age, if he is 8 years old, I mean, it seemed very intentional that, he wanted to hurt that kid. So has he been hurt? Has he witnessed someone else being hurt? That's a really good point.
I mean, when he was hiding in the armoire.
That was so creepy.
Yeah. Like, it seemed like he was hiding from something or somebody. And I don't think it was either of his parents.
I thought that he might have been like spying on them to try to protect Simone.
He's afraid that Ty's going to hurt Simone. Yeah. Maybe him, maybe Biscuit. And hey, that kind of comes true, assuming that it was Ty who hurt him and made the altar. Which we did see a bite on her hand. So we can assume that was a dog bite, even though it kind of looked like a human bite.
It looked a lot like a human bite.
She could have bit herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm convinced it was the dog because after that in the show, you don't see the dog anymore.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And there was that whole discussion, I know we're talking about the altar and we were going to maybe get into that a little later. We have a fan joining us, but there have been these theories on Reddit that what if it's Van who left the weird shrine thing with Biscuit's head?
Maybe I thought about that too.
Maybe she's in their house this whole time and Ty's in her fugue state and sees her, but trusts her because of their history. And maybe Van is somehow involved. This is from Countess Moon X23. Emily, I believe that was under your Reddit
Mhm.
post, correct? The one
Mhm.
where you were asking for answers about where Sammy got his ideas from the drawings. And I thought that was a very interesting theory. What are our thoughts on that? Is Van somehow tied in to this?
That's something that I've actually thought about quite a bit since the very beginning. Um, I think that's a strong possibility. First of all, because there seems to be some type of opening or exit,
Yeah.
like going
Mhm.
to the outside. Um, and I don't. I mean, Taissa really. I mean, yeah, she could have done all of this in her fugue state and didn't remember, but I. It seems kind of far-fetched to me that she would do all of that, you know? I mean,
Well,
set
I
up
mean,
this elaborate altar. I mean, that's pretty detailed and pretty elaborate for somebody who, doesn't really know what they're entirely doing and isn't totally in control. Um,
I also noticed, I don't know if either of you noticed this, but like when they show Taissa getting down from the tree when she's outside of the house, when she's an adult, they show the tree and it looks like the branches like rustle, like there was still something in the tree
huh.
when she went inside. It's really subtle, but
Wow.
if you look,
Hmm.
like it doesn't look like it's from the wind. It looks different.
Interesting.
Wow, I did not notice that. Very good
Yeah.
observation, as usual, Emily. Wow.
I need to know what happened the night that the wolves attacked their camp.
How did she end up in the tree when she was
Yeah.
And with the
watching
necklace.
and with the necklace that
Yeah.
Van was wearing? That is a really good question.
Such a
Yeah.
stark contrast from her behavior when she's awake. Like, because she's so against the idea of anything supernatural going on out there. Like, she even says to the girls when they're on their hike to try to find help, there's a solution for everything, there's an explanation for everything. Like, she always tries to be logical in every possible way she can. But she's doing these things in this state that she would never even consider doing while she's awake.
Yeah.
Right, and this little quote that Kelly put together from young Ty. You believe that Scully is too good for Mulder. You do not believe in whatever this is. Being very, skeptical in terms of what's going on, and it is a stark contrast. She's
Yeah.
very logical. She's very much in control, and for her to not be in control and not even be aware of it or dissociating is got to be very scary for her.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know about it. I mean, yikes.
I feel like it has to be really scary for Sammy too, because I feel like he's obviously seen her in the tree. He's he might have seen her do other things in this state. And it's probably so confusing to him that like he's seeing her do these things, but she's not remembering doing them. And he's being honest about what he's seeing, but he's still being called a liar. And his moms are saying that that's not true. That has to be so confusing for a little kid
Yeah.
and
Um,
scary.
Very
yeah,
scary.
especially with her putting the paint underneath the bed,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. I was going to ask you guys, like, do you think that Thais is the one that did that? Or
Oh yeah.
like you said, the possibility that like, what if Van was involved? Maybe somebody else could have done it and put it under Sammy's bed to make it look like he did.
How creepy if she's like lurking around their house, though. I mean, oh my God, like that is next level, cult activity, assuming Van's in the cult, which I think is a pretty safe assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Agreed.
so. Um, I wonder, she told Simone that she hadn't experienced any of those fugue states since the wilderness. But I wonder if Simone like has witnessed stuff that she hasn't told Taissa about. And perhaps that's why, because I was really thrown for a loop when, I mean, when Taissa told Simone about what was going on with her, Simone seemed so supportive.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She
And
was like, we'll get you help, whatever you
right.
need.
And then, and before that, I mean, she was pretty pissed at her. And
Yeah.
then as soon as like she made it clear, look, something's going on that's not within my control, Simone immediately became sympathetic. I mean, she turned immediately. And when she asked her to leave the house with Sammy, that's when she kind of changed again and like just kind of iced her out. And I wonder, that really confused me quite a bit. And I wonder if part of the reason that she turned like that is because she has an idea of what could happen. Either because she's like witnessed something, or
I mean, neither of you think that Simone really knows what happened out there in the wilderness, right? Like, I don't think Taissa probably told her anything.
No.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I think
Taissa obviously
Jeff-
knows what she went through, but
Not
she
specifics
doesn't-
like Jeff does from reading the journals. I think Jeff's the only person, spouse or partner, whatever, that is aware of what went on out there. I don't think Simone has a clue.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think so either. I mean, they're pretty secretive about everything.
And it's
the other thing is Jessica.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Like it makes sense to me. Her hiring Jessica to kind of grill the survivors makes sense to me because, you know, she wanted to make sure that she could control the narrative as much as possible if anything came out.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I mean, I think it was, you know, shrewd but smart.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I would love to know how she found Jessica. I mean, Jessica's clearly, she's a cleaner. You know, there's no doubt about that. I mean, she had plenty of stories to share about like other stuff she had done.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. She had dirt on Phil Bathurst and his daughter. You know, I am sorry. I don't know what's going on with my lighting right now. It's kind of going all freaky deaky on me. But anyway, yeah, I would love to know how that came about, how she connected with Jessica, and what exactly Jessica knows, if she knows more than she's letting on. More than she let on to Misty, I mean, you know.
I feel like she might. Like, I think Jessica died with some secrets that, like, could have hurt the Yellowjackets.
Yeah.
Could Jessica have been tied to the cult and somehow made her way to tie in the role of a fixer? That does seem maybe far-fetched, but
I think it's a good possibility.
Anything's a possibility, I suppose,
especially
with Yellowjackets.
Yeah, and I mean, that would kind of support the theory that, like, if Lottie, like, is infiltrating their lives, like, how is she infiltrating their lives? Like, so maybe Jessica was their way into Ty because they knew that it would be really hard to get to Ty.
Yeah.
It's possible.
It could be.
Now, do you think it's really it's still super fascinating to all of us? I know that she's been paying for Natalie's rehab. I mean, obviously Taissa has money, but you know, she's not like rolling in millions of dollars. I mean, you know, she can't just like, you know, she even said, made the comment to Shauna that the pay cut she took to run for Senate isn't going to pay for another stint in rehab. So it's not like, you know, like, oh, it's like $5 to us, you know? I mean,
right. Well, she couldn't come up with the money for the blackmailer either,
right.
You know,
well,
and Nat was the one, I think, that came up with that. So
yeah. I mean, if she had enough money, she would probably have some like secret stash that Simone didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But so, you know, it's got to put somewhat of a dent in her pocket, like to be sending Natalie to these luxury rehabs that are far from cheap.
Yeah, that place looked expensive.
It was in Malibu. Very nice place. Top notch.
I mean, what and clearly, you know, she's been more than once. So what
do you guys think that Ty like paid for her to go to rehab before?
Yeah,
I think it was implied. Yes, I think it was implied that this was not the first time she's paid for her rehab.
Yeah.
I would love to know why she told Shauna that she was doing it for herself as well as Natalie. And I would love to know the extent of the motivation behind that.
Because she cares for Natalie so much, or because there's some other intent that she has and there's something in it for her. It could go either way.
Yeah. I think, I think there's a good chance that if she feels that Natalie stays sober, she's less likely to do something stupid and
let some information spill
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
She also clearly doesn't want her to connect with Travis. And I think that her grabbing Travis's phone number and calling him up is essentially what killed him.
Oh, yeah,
That's my
for sure.
theory. Yeah. I think if she
I
had
agree.
stayed away from him completely, I don't think that I think he would have been left alone.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a whole new identity and everything. He did not want to be found. So that obviously set into motion.
Yeah. What made him go to those lengths to not be found in the first place? Like, something else has to happen, like, that we haven't seen yet, that would make him want to abandon his life so nobody could find him.
Do you think
that's extreme?
Yeah.
Very extreme.
I wonder what I have to wonder, because so much happened within the span of 24 hours. And we know he left his house at night because of the little 1.5 seconds that he was in the trailer. That was cut out for some reason. I would love to know why they cut that out.
Yeah.
And how much more of Travis was cut out. But he left his house at night. He was clearly panicked about something. I wonder if when Natalie called him, if Jessica was there.
I feel like she might have been. Because those whiskey glasses were not old, like that Natalie found sitting on that table.
And the bottle was also pretty new or unopened or close to the top, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
And we know that she gave him the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 100%. So
was it close to the top? God, I'm trying to.
I thought it was like halfway empty.
I think it might have been.
Okay. All right. So maybe she wasn't there that recently then.
Yeah.
Unless he drank a lot while she was there.
He's like, oh, I'm throwing down. Oh,
yeah. Oh shit, this can't be good. Someone found me.
Yeah. I wonder what his reaction was to being found by her. I wonder if they'll ever show us anything about adult Travis. I really hope so.
I hope so too. I mean, and what was going on with Travis and Nat in, the gap of years where, where between the crash and the current day, how often did they see each other? Did they talk a lot? I mean, obviously Nat had lost track of him and, had to discover his new identity, but I would like more context in Nat and Travis.
Yeah, same. It's Taissa mentioned, and this, the number one thing that makes me think that Taissa is involved in the cult. I know it, Taissa. The number one thing that makes me think that she's connected is that she wouldn't bail Natalie and Missy out of jail.
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
Why would she not bail them out? There 100% is a reason why she wanted them to stay in there.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
Yeah.
That was when they killed Travis.
Yep.
She was also adamant on the phone to Natalie that she felt like she should stay away from Travis. And, she essentially said that she wasn't bailing them out because she didn't want her to go find Travis.
Yeah.
Because she, of course, she was telling Natalie she wanted her to stay away from him, that they weren't good for each other. God, I hope we see some more of that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling that in the 90s timeline, we're going to see Travis and Natalie kind of bonding a lot together over their, like, I think they're going to be kind of an island of their own, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling they may be like the two most level-headed out there.
We already know Nat's the moral compass, so it would make sense that her and Travis could serve that role together jointly.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like Taissa is pretty level-headed too. Maybe not as much so as Nat, like in a moral compass sense. Sense, but she tries to approach things, like we said, from a very logical standpoint at all times.
She does, but I think Van's going to change that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was very, and I'm sure, like, she basically just kind of went along with the prayer thing, and, you know, she told Van that they were going to be okay because she didn't want to lose Van, and she probably felt bad about whatever happened to her. She felt like it was her fault, but I remember when she was staying at Shauna's house, she made the comment that, she said Simone didn't make her feel it anymore. And that if someone made her feel it wasn't going to be good for anybody. And Shauna said, yeah, I think I know what you mean. And I assumed she was talking about Van.
Me too.
So I think we're going to see Taissa kind of like devolve a little bit into this cultish mindset in season 2.
I cannot wait to see her and Van together. I am so interested to see where they pick up, right? Have they talked at all? You know, is Taissa seeing her only in a fugue state? How do they come to talk again? Are they gonna hook up? Is this what's gonna end Taissa's marriage? There are so many questions, and Lauren Ambrose is hopefully going to help answer some of them for us. It should be an interesting, another relationship to explore in the present day. And, Taissa's current relationships, friendships, especially with Shauna, I think if we're looking at the healthiest relationship among the adult Yellowjackets, I do feel Ty and Shauna have the closest connection. We see that a couple of times when Taissa stops by and her and Shauna have the heart-to-heart at Shauna's house. Also in the van when they're getting blackmailed, when Nat's out, they have a little talk, another heart-to-heart. And we see that established in the teen timeline in the wilderness. For me, the scene where Ty expresses her friendship and how much she cares about Shauna in the abortion scene is so incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And yet we talk about that scene a lot. It is one of the most powerful in the series, in my opinion. And just establishing that connection and that moment and that shared trauma between Ty and Shauna really does extend into adulthood. The way that they interact with each other, they talk to each other, is the most normal, the healthiest of all of them. And
I mean, that is like probably the greatest act of just selfless love that we've seen in the show so far. I mean, it was such pure selflessness.
Yeah.
She was willing to take on this massive burden.
I get goosebumps every time. I get goosebumps every time.
Was that before or after Van was attacked?
That was before.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she...
Did she have long hair or short hair?
She did. She had long hair.
Long hair, okay, cool.
Yeah, she didn't... she clearly didn't want Shauna to do this because it was dangerous. But she knew that Shauna was going to try to do it regardless.
Yep.
And she was willing to take on that responsibility just so she wouldn't have to do it alone.
Can you imagine sticking an underwire in your friend's vagina to abort a fetus? I mean, it's so graphic. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I still can't get over it. I can't get over it. And you are right.
Jasmin Savoy-Brown was so flipping good in that scene.
The selflessness, Kelly, 100% spot on. It's
their
incredible.
Their friendship is probably my favorite friendship because, like you said, like it's somewhat healthy and they're there for each other in such a deep way. Like they're bonded so deeply and they're so connected that like, you know, they genuinely care and love each other. And
in a way that it doesn't seem like anybody,
yeah,
including them, can.
Yeah,
with anyone else.
exactly.
That bond is
Yeah.
so unique. That's not
Mhm.
something that any of them will ever have with their partner or other friends or anybody. So that's
Yep.
something that will always be between them. And for them, it's a very strong thing. But you know, then we see Nat and Misty, and there's obviously something else between them because Nat shows up with the gun. So it's nice to see that there's a very, very nice, healthy Yellowjackets friendship happening in the present day.
Yeah.
It's still like, you know how Taissa shows up at Shauna's house and Jeff answers the door and he's like, oh, well, we haven't seen you in so long. I still don't understand why they acted like they hadn't seen each other in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to and especially like if Jeff read those journals, like, and Jeff went in that safe, like he might know that you're in touch anyways.
Right.
And what does it matter if he knows? Like that has always just bothered me.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that, I think that even if he knows that they've stayed in touch, I think he probably was just playing along because he, obviously he didn't want to reveal that he knew more than Shauna thinks he does.
Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, he clearly knows because he would have contacted them from like, he would have gotten the numbers from the burner phone, right?
He elbowed Taissa in the nose and almost broke her nose, and then he opens the door and greets her like it's nothing.
Yeah,
like
no big.
He had like Jeff kind of seemed like a good liar in that moment because that's a poker face you got to put on right there.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, they were both kind of sweating it out. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And speaking of them catching up, like one of my other favorite things from the class reunion was when they're walking in together and Ty says, hey, it's been forever. What have you been up to Shauna? And Shauna says, gardening, PTA, dismembering my lover's corpse. I love
so
that
casual.
They're so
casual about
it. So casual. I picture this moment on the Emmys red carpet tonight, Tawny and Melanie walking up and, it'd be funny if they just relived that moment and said that quote, but okay.
That would be very funny.
Yeah.
I meant to, one thing I meant to do that just, I did not get a chance to do, unfortunately. I wanted to go back and rewatch the episode where they show up at Adam's apartment. Because
in the finale,
I wanted to see if there was any reaction from Taissa upon seeing Adam.
She says, oh my God, Shauna, you killed him.
Okay. Yeah.
But not overly the top, like suspicious or anything.
No.
Like there was a tie between them or something. I didn't pick up on anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing that I've been wondering about too. Taissa she's been sending Nat to rehab. I mean, who's to say that she might not have known Adam and could have possibly
had him hit her car? Or she hit his car, I guess. But
yeah, she hit his car.
Orchestrate the accident in some fashion.
Yeah. Or she could have had something to do with the blackmail too. With the loan that Jeff took out.
Because we do suspect Bianca could somehow be tied in into a bigger picture situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that the cult is trying to control them all in some way. And which is the one thing that makes me think that Ty didn't do the altar. Because I feel like they're going to take, like, the cult's going to take responsibility for her winning state senate and is going to try to use that to control her in some way. And I think that, putting Jeff in a bad financial situation could also be a way of kind of keeping them under control, keeping Shauna and Jeff under control. Now, I mean, as for Misty, she's such a wild card. So.
Who knows? Who knows?
But yeah, there's a lot of meddling, you know?
There is a lot of meddling. And I keep going back to, I believe the cult is somehow the super PAC behind Taissa for president. She's starting in the Senate. I have said it before and I will keep saying it. I believe in season 4, Ty's going to run for president. The cult is somehow funding this. They need her for some sort of initiative. I don't know yet what the political tie-in is, but I think there's something.
Maybe that's where Diane Raffleson ties in.
Ooh, thank you for reminding me about that, Emily. I thought that was a very important scene.
Same.
She feels like she's going to get the information she wants out of Ty, but as we know, Ty is so strong-willed and didn't want to give in to her. As Diane said to Taissa, but you rise above Taissa. I've seen it, and I have to say I'm impressed. As far as I'm concerned, there's no limit to how far you can rise, President. You just need to find the people who truly want to help you. Diane Raffleson. The people who truly want to help you.
The last line, yeah.
That says something to me.
It's so culty sounding.
Is she involved with the cult? What are the odds that this is the woman Ty ends up with in the dark room, which, by the way, was shot so well with the shadows and the darkness. It really set the tone for that conversation. And, you know, Ty essentially says, no, you can't have that from me. You can't take that from me. And for me, that's her putting herself and protecting her friends above her political career. Yeah. So it goes to show she probably isn't in control or knows everything that's happening. She does try to do the right thing. You know, she tells Shauna, I'm afraid to go to sleep because she knows things are happening. She probably doesn't know what. She knows Sammy is afraid of her. You know, she even says to Sammy, I'm different from what people expect and it scares them. But whatever they say about me, I hope you know it isn't true. And I believe Taissa believes that it's not true either, because she doesn't even know that she's doing these things.
Sammy answers her back and says, I know you're not the bad one. Like when she says that to him.
I have an interesting possibility that just kind of popped up into my mind. What do you think the chances are that Van and Simone have met?
And Taissa just doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like Van's a friend from the coffee shop or something, like a regular person Simone encounters type thing.
That
or like a coworker or something.
That or perhaps Van was like insinuating that was, you know, really pushing her history with Ty, and maybe that's why Simone got upset when Taissa wanted her to leave. Maybe she thought that it was a way to get back with Van behind her back. I don't know.
So you think Van would have contacted Simone somehow and let her know about the history or met her or something. But wouldn't Simone have said something to Ty? Maybe not, because obviously they're fighting and things aren't great. That is interesting.
I feel like if Simone knows Van, Taissa does not know, and Simone doesn't know the significance of who Van is.
Yeah.
What if Van is messing with both of them? She's the one in the house kind of helping all these like weird things along. She's also somehow messing with Simone. I mean, Kelly, that's not far off from cult behavior, and we don't know what happens between Ty and Van out in the wilderness and where they left things. You know, some people are saying, oh, you know, Ty and Van are going to be endgame and this and that, but we don't know how things ended in the wilderness. Were they on the same side? Were they in the same clan? We don't know.
Were they even rescued together?
Was Van even rescued? Did she stay out there with Lottie? We know she's alive. That's about all the information we can confirm right now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we know that they did, if they did stay together, like up until they were rescued, which I I have a feeling something's going to go wrong there.
Yeah.
They did stay together. They clearly didn't stay together for very long when they got back because, Taissa talked about, dating all these beautiful women in college and, so clearly that relationship falls apart. And I have a feeling it's going to fall apart when things get super crazy in season 2.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that Taissa is probably going to try to follow Van's line of thinking, and then it's just going to go so haywire that she's just going to be like, this is crazy. Enough is enough, and they're going to be kind of like on opposing sides.
It seems that way because we saw Van and Misty kind of more on the Lottie side of things. So it's not far-fetched to think that they end up on opposite sides, and where it goes into the adult timeline. Gosh, where's Van been all this time?
Yeah.
What are her scars looking like?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
They're probably completely healed.
So Lauren Ambrose is probably going to have some scars on her face then.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
We've not seen any behind the scenes photos of her. I've not seen any indications anywhere of anything from Lauren, and I am dying for some behind the scenes content. Please give me some behind the scenes content. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
No, there's been like no indication that like she's even been like on the set.
Oh, God, I need answers.
I'm gonna have to,
because like we know from Bart Nickerson and Ashley Lyle's little interview that they gave the other night about filming with Juliette Lewis and Simone Kessel in the Canadian wilderness, that kind of gave it away that we're going to see them out in the wilderness together, and there's a good chance we could be seeing them at the cabin.
Yes,
So cool.
we were speculating, Showtime had posted the slate from the starting of filming from season 2, which looked to be in front of a cabin window, which of course we speculated to be the same cabin. Yeah. And then, as you mentioned, we saw an Instagram story where they just said they were with them the other day. They were with Simone, they were with Juliette, and now here they are at the Emmys. So chances are very strong. I love that they dropped that. I feel like it was on purpose. They wanted to give us a little info. Everyone's so excited for season 2. So the fact that we might see adults in the teen timeline cabin is very exciting. And that says the cabin probably didn't burn down. So that may defeat some fan theories regarding the rescue and how they got rescued and the cabin burning down. So
the only thing that I think would be like far-fetched about it being the cabin is if they kidnap Natalie in New Jersey, how the heck are they going to get her to Canada?
Right? I was thinking the same thing. Like, that's going to be a tough one.
Maybe logistics. That cabin in the Poconos factors in.
The cabin in the Poconos. I do not buy for a second that Adam's tattoo and that line were just a coincidence. Again, Adam's tattoo, that line, cabin in the Poconos. Emily, you are maybe onto something here. Could be a different cabin. We know they're like all about the red herrings. Secondary cabin.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Whew. And speaking of fan theories, we actually decided to bring a fan on today. His name is Oscar. We're gonna bring him in just a second to talk more about Ty. And with that, Oscar, looks like you're ready. We're gonna bring you on here.
Hey,
hi, Oscar.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Coming.
Yes. Well, hey, you look great. You sound great. We appreciate you being here. We've been chatting all things Ty and wanted to ask you what topics that you would like to cover. Where would you like to start with your Ty theory and commentary?
Well, I guess it'd be like where that kind of fugue state she gets into comes from. Like you can kind of see it's like a switch in her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like amazing acting by Tawny Cypress, by the way. Like how you can like really see it. Especially like I think it was episode 10 where she wins the race. I forget. I think it's is it for the governor of New Jersey?
State Senate. Yes.
Yeah.
For the Senate, you can see it like when she wins, like the camera catches like she just kind of stares off, and then it's just like this like really creepy weird smile.
Yeah.
Like, ugh, yikes, man.
Yeah,
wonder-
it was sinister.
Like what I wonder like what caused it, besides the obvious, and like maybe something happened with Van out there, because now that we know she's alive in 2021, it's like, what really happened out there, I guess, huh?
Right. And what's triggering the fugue states?
Yeah.
What is it that is putting her into that? Is it sleep that triggers it? She thought, she mentioned she's afraid to go to sleep. Is it that when she goes to sleep it happens? Is there some kind of like secret word somebody's saying which would hold some water for if Van is somehow involved in the present day, and maybe there's this word she says and Ty goes into this state, like how hypnotists do it. I don't know.
Do you
Yeah.
think that like the plane crash was what started these states like initially, or do you think like it could have been something else? Because like she said, the sleepwalking started after the crash. So I'm assuming that started after the crash too, but was it the actual crash that made those things start happening, or was it something else?
I think maybe a big part in this whole thing has to be like Van almost dying, like when she was about to
Yeah.
burn, like what she thought was a dead body, like, and right before, I think it was it like the pyre caught like fire really quick and it got really hot, and then she started like moving around. I think that's,
Yeah.
it was probably that, like that probably had a big part to play in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she was on fire. Her legs were on fire. Like, they were about to just set fire to her entire body.
They
So,
didn't
yeah.
wait that long before she was dead and setting her on
Right.
fire. I mean, we kind of mentioned that before. Like, did they really effectively check the pulse? Did they give it a minute? Like, they're like, oh, fuck, she's gone. We're just going to light this bitch on fire. I mean, like, I don't know.
It was like weird. Like, I don't know if you guys have you ever seen The Revenant
I have not.
No.
with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, I know, with the one with the bear, right?
Yeah, like I don't know if you've seen that scene where he gets like brutally attacked by this bear. Like you can see the bear claw his throat,
Oh,
and like the blood just flies out, and it's like, I don't know how he survived that, but like not to discount what Van went through, but it's like, I don't know, like that. Yeah, like what Melanie said. Maybe they didn't know how to check for a pulse effectively. I don't know.
Or they were just freaking out and in shock. I mean, that whole situation from, ties up in the tree, the wolf thing, the trying to get the wolf off and getting eaten. I mean, it all happened so fast. It's definitely a crazy, crazy situation. And with her surviving, there's talk of the woods want to keep them there. So again, we've seen Van, survive from the actual crash being on fire, survive, the facial surgery and wolf and other fire things. So,
she almost got Jackie saved her from getting hit by the plane that Laura Lee started up too.
Yeah.
So that was another instance. She's got, like you said, she's got 9 lives.
9 lives. So maybe there's this supernatural thing at play that needs her to stay alive for some reason. Maybe Van is like the messiah of the Canadian wilderness and has some important, prophecy to fulfill in the present day for the cult, and she needs to be alive, and that's why the woods are keeping her alive. Oh.
That's possible. I wonder, I'm very curious about the wolves that she keeps seeing, that Taissa keeps seeing.
Same.
Yeah. And I wonder if while she was in a fugue state, maybe she saw Van. And that's what kind of like started her spiraling back into this,
Maybe Van is the wolf. Like Javi was the bear.
Do you think she sees the wolves like solely because of what happened to Van? Or do you think like that maybe wolves factor back into the equation again?
And it's possible.
Probably back into the equation, because it's like they like to include a wolf in like the artwork too. Like, I don't know if you've seen the back cover of the season 1 DVD. It's like there's a big wolf there. So it's like maybe it has something to do with somebody else too. Like maybe Van has of course Van will have a connection to the wolf, but maybe other people.
When they're hiking, like initially to the lake, they pass by that like bear carcass that was like all mauled, and they ask what could have done it, and Coach says wolves. Like, wolves can kill anything if the pack is big enough. And I felt like that line might come back into play too.
That was definite foreshadowing line,
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. That was heavy foreshadowing of something.
Oscar, we were talking a little bit about Sammy's drawings earlier as well. Do you have any thoughts on, is Sammy actually making them? He says he is. Where is he seeing these images that he is turning them into drawings? Any thoughts on Sammy and the drawings?
Maybe a possibility is like when he was younger, like maybe much young, well, not much younger, because he's like what, 8 in
That's
in
what
the
we
show
were
that came out?
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe when he was a little bit younger, like Taissa couldn't really control it that well, like as she can now. I mean, she still slips, but maybe back then, a couple years ago, she couldn't control it as well, and she probably like maybe whispered something in his ear, or like drew something in front of him, or like showed it to him that is probably like imprinted on him still. Like he unconsciously remembers it. Maybe that has something to do with it.
I saw a crazy theory. Somebody said that maybe Taissa is sitting out in the tree and she's telling Sammy what to draw. And that's where the drawings came from.
And it's ironic she's in a tree, right? Like, she was in a tree out in the woods. What does the tree have to do with things? Why does she have to be in a tree of all places? It's
It's weird.
an interesting location. And Oscar, the altar. What are your thoughts? Do you believe that Ty's behind the altar? Do you believe somebody else, like maybe Sneaky Van, is somehow getting in and setting it up? Do you think she's responsible for it? Is aware of it? Not aware of it? What do you think about the altar?
I think, well, I thought for the longest time like that she created that and like killed the dog and put its head. Is it its head or its whole body?
Its head, and there's a heart there too. But is that a dog heart or human?
Heart.
It's a dog's heart. It looks so big. Like, I didn't know dog hearts were that big, but anyway.
Yeah. I like, one possibility is like maybe she made that in the fugue state that she was in, and it's like maybe they last longer as they go on, and like they're harder to control. Or maybe I think I saw a theory. I don't know if it was on Facebook or not, but like that since Lottie's still alive, like she's like a cult leader. She's like the cult leader, and like maybe she has like some pull on Ty. Like she I think it was brainwashing. I mean, maybe brainwashing, because it kind of ties back to like the Cold War, like with sleeper agents.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that could be something like she repeated a phrase or something and brainwashed Ty and a couple others, and like if you say that certain phrase, they do whatever you program them to.
Like spill.
Maybe spill is the secret word. I mean, maybe yes, Kelly.
Yeah.
Oscar,
and you know what? If Van or somebody from the cult somehow like got into Taissa's house, it's possible they could have messed with her cards, and that maybe she wasn't imagining that the word spill was on them. Maybe it was actually written on there somewhere. You know?
Okay.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
So Kelly, you don't think that that Ty is the one that created the altar then?
I don't know. I mean,
I think it was her in a fugue state.
Yeah.
Just because like when they announced that she wins, like Oscar said, she gets that really creepy, weird smile on her face. And I feel like that was her making the connection to like, okay, what I did helped me win. So like she was acknowledging the fact that she did it, even though like she did it in that other state. Like maybe she's starting to remember that she's doing some of these things.
I think that whatever, whether it's her or whether it's somebody else, I think that the ritual is connected to her win, because
for sure.
I mean, mostly, and this, this could just be me creating theories out of nothing, but I noticed right away when they were gathered around the TV that there was a that bunting that they had in the background.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me total Antler Queen vibes.
Yes, I made a Reddit post about that so long ago.
Yeah.
That exact picture.
Yeah, I picked up on it right away. Like, it was right behind her head and like in one of the strappers' heads.
Yeah.
And it was, it totally, it almost looked like antlers.
It's
Like,
so
they were
good.
completely lined up center.
I feel like that was deliberate.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
What if Fan's on the campaign team and we just haven't seen her yet? I mean, we have not seen a big part of Ty's team. Maybe it's just some intern, or, you know, maybe she's tied into the campaign team somehow, Van. I don't know.
I think one of, at least somebody from her campaign staff has to be connected to the cult.
Someone
think so.
infiltrated it. They have to.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that would explain her cards. Like, maybe she was writing the cards at the office for her speech or something, and somebody got into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe Allie has something to do with it, you know?
Allie.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, like her leg went like that. That was gross.
Yeah.
That
was-
motive, Oscar, is maybe like the best motive out there. I mean,
Yeah.
But to your point, the bone was completely out of her leg. That was insane. I mean, maybe Allie's been holding a grudge this entire time and
Can
is
you imagine
somehow.
Can you imagine that if she's like the mastermind behind everything?
Oh my God, that would be hilarious.
If that's a fact, we have to remember to cut this clip of you saying that so
Yes.
we can properly credit you when this theory comes out. So just remind us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
and Randy's been helping her.
Yes, Randy.
we're all on our toes. When is season 2 supposed to like premiere?
I think
said
like
early next-
February or March.
Early 2023 is what we were given. And I think they wrap filming in February. So, I mean, they probably have some episodes in, you know, editing and stuff. But I would say March, probably the earliest if they don't finish until February.
I'm crossing my fingers that they premiere before they're done filming.
Like,
Yeah,
They'll
me
be
too.
at the very end of filming. But
they should. I mean, hopefully. Yeah. God, it can't come soon enough. But what's really nice is that they're taking the time. Like we've mentioned before, they weren't expecting the fandom to be so insanely into everything. So there's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross for continuity, and really paying close attention to those little details. And, you know, adding some in that are going to throw us off. Because as we know, it's our favorite hobby, speculating Yellowjackets theories.
I mean, that's what you get when you make a really good show. You put time into it, and you make sure everything's just like,
perfect.
you know, like The Sopranos.
Yes.
Like people didn't think anything of it like when I think they announced it, or like when it first premiered, but like after a couple episodes, they just took off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the best shows I've ever watched.
Yeah.
I think the Emmys is going to do a lot to drive some Yellowjackets buzz as well. I think a lot of people that don't have Showtime, you know, may not even be fully aware of the show. I don't have HBO, so I've missed out on some of the HBO shows. So I think getting some Emmys buzz would be great. Oscar, are you watching the Emmys tonight? Yes, I am.
Want to. Yeah, I like. What time is it? I've just been.
It starts at 8.
8 Eastern. What time zone are you, and where are you located?
I'm in New York.
Okay, so you're East Coast, just like Emily. Very nice.
Yes.
8:00 p.m. your time.
Do you have any thoughts as to their chances of winning anything in any of the categories we're nominated for? They've got Melanie Linsky's nominated, Christina Ricci's nominated.
2 times for writing, 1 for directing. Best outstanding
best
drama
overall. Yeah.
Yep, outstanding drama.
Yeah, I mean, I think didn't Melanie Linsky win
Critics' Choice?
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, I
She
think she has
won
a
a Hollywood Critics Association award too. It's a newer award show.
Gotcha.
It's
she has
funny
a really good shot at winning. I mean, you know, phenomenal acting, especially at the book club scene. I mean, everybody likes to go to that by default, but that was just funny.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. One of the best delivered lines I've ever seen.
And she's got a lot of them. She's got a lot of them throughout season 1. And with the Emmys, a lot of these award shows, you know, sometimes the underdogs end up coming out on top. You just never know. Or sometimes there's the one show that ends up like sweeping every category. And so, you know, Succession might be doing that tonight. We'll have to see how it goes.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
Me either.
Me neither. I hear it's really great though. So, you know.
Yeah.
Oscar, any other Thai theories, commentary, anything else you'd like to add about Thai, either teen, adult?
What's your favorite Thai scene, Oscar?
Favorite Thai scene? I guess when they're all at the bonfire and like her and Shauna start fighting, and then it's like everybody go and say something nice about each other. Like it's so obviously fake. It's like, you know, you guys don't mean it. It's just you fight. It is what it is. But it's like if you've been through that, you can see it. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I completely forgot about that too. Like we were just talking about how amazing their relationship is, and like one of the first things we saw them in together, Shauna was calling her a sociopath.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah,
amazing how much they've evolved their friendship, you know, due to everything that's happened.
Yep.
Yeah, especially you know, the last scene in the 96 timeline. It's like she's gonna be like the main one holding Shauna together after.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
She's really gonna lean on Ty now that Jackie's gone.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see if Ty steps up as more of a leader, and you know, where things kind of go after Jackie's death. We do see Ty typically as a person that's, you know, trying to be in control, hold things together, you know, give some ideas. So I think, you know, she'll be integral in helping everybody deal post Jackie being frozen.
She was like the only one to like stand up to Jackie and like challenge leaving the crash site too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the first time that anybody really challenged Jackie, period. And it was Taissa.
Yeah.
And it's just such a metaphor for where she ended up in her career, always being in charge, you know, being fierce, being powerful. All of those adjectives play very much into her current political career and likely future presidency.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. I think that's the road she's headed down.
God, maybe Van could be like her VP or something.
When she gets into one of those moods, it's like, I don't want you on any buttons, man. You know.
I know that's scary. I worry about
point, Oscar. Good point. Oh, poor Simone, right?
I know. I love Simone. I hope nothing happens to her.
I'm really curious to see like the fallout of her discovering that altar.
Yeah.
I can't picture their marriage surviving that. What do you guys think? Do you think that they're going to stay together after this, or F no?
Well, I asked my husband, I'm like, if I killed our pet and I beheaded it and you found it in a hidden room, would you stay married to me? He was like, we'd have to have a conversation. I'm like, a conversation? I think we need more than a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, even like with my husband, I think I could probably kill somebody and he could find a way to forgive me. But if I hurt our dogs, forget it.
Oh, game over.
That's a line you don't cross.
Dog decapitation is very serious.
Yes.
I hope they don't like go back and show her like if she did do like we're assuming like she killed the dog. I hope they don't show that. That would be so traumatizing.
They won't. I don't. Just like they're not going to eat the baby. I think there's definitely a line to be drawn with, you know, animal graphic things.
Let's hope.
But I would be curious to see her creating that altar though. Like if she did do it in one of those states, because like another thing about the altar like that mystifies me is why put that baby doll on the altar in the first place? Like what's so significant? Because like we know the heart is explainable because we see Lottie put the heart inside that tree stump, so you know that that's going to kind of factor into what they do. The head, I feel like, was just her taking it a step further, again being Taissa. And the symbol, like that's another obvious one, but the doll, like that's just seems kind of random.
We talked last time about it
Yeah.
being maybe a metaphor for the baby, like Shauna's baby, if they sacrifice the baby.
Yeah.
You know, perhaps it's a metaphor for that as another type of sacrifice. I don't know. What do you think, Oscar? What do you make of Sammy's doll being there?
Yeah, like I think since they're really tight, like, well, maybe they weren't so tight before, but you know, Jackie's death happened, and then as they grew older, they probably got even more, like, they got closer together. It's probably like what we were talking about before, like the reference to the baby, whether it's, you know, dead out there or alive, like now. I also think it'd be interesting if like the baby had, like, you know, almost like a hauntingly accurate resemblance to Jackie, like as it grew up. Like if it's a teen now, if it looks like a lot like her, that's
Creepy, right?
Yeah. So
Oh my
creepy.
goodness.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It
Like,
could
one-
also, like, they could also put it there, like, because they view the child as some kind of like a messiah, and they actually like pray to the baby. Like the baby is a key integral part of the cult.
Yeah.
That's just a crazy theory I have.
No, I think that's a possibility. And
Oscar,
you know,
do you think the baby lives or dies? What do you think?
I don't know, because it's. I mean, I want it to live because it's like then that gives it. There's more to work with, like for 2021, that timeline.
Yeah.
But it's like realistically, I don't know how they would be able to keep it alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the Woods are going to let it die. That's my thinking.
The Woods seems to have a very vested interest in keeping certain things, people there and alive. So I do think there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew. Well, I feel like we've covered Ty pretty well. Do we have any last minute theories that have popped into any of our heads? Because that happens a lot.
I don't have a theory. I just kind of have like a thought. Like, we sort of touched on it a little bit already. Like when Taissa is talking with her campaign manager in the last episode, and she says, "My wife moved out. Like I took a 15-year marriage and I threw it down the drain," or what? Yeah. I thought it was really strange that like she said this because it was her idea in the first place for them to leave. So why is she turning it around and framing it like Simone left her when it was her suggestion?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that always just stuck out to me, and it's just weird. It was a weird little detail.
And her suggesting them to leave was a very selfless thing because it was very clear she didn't want to hurt them and didn't know what she was capable of doing. So that does turn it around. And maybe that is, you know, the dichotomy of her dueling mind sets, right? Or the mind or the state of mind that she's in. That's a good observation.
I also wonder where does the eating dirt come from? Because it's like, I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be straight up pica, which happens when there's like nutritional deficiencies. People eat paper and dirt and some other things, but it seems like there's something else at play with that here. We were speculating on if Lottie even really saw Taissa out there or if Lottie was just having one of her visions. But I think we agreed that it probably did happen and she was out there eating dirt. In the adult timeline, we see her washing her hands and all the dirt, you know, under her fingernails and everything. So I think the dirt does factor in somehow.
Yeah. I
wonder if like, what's that?
I said, I hope we get an answer, like, or they like actually like show her doing it because, well, they did show her doing it when Lottie found her. That was really creepy.
That was very creepy.
Super creepy. I wonder if that's like how I mean, this is going to sound super corny, but I wonder if that's kind of like how, like, she's essentially putting the wilderness inside her, you know what I mean? She's so skeptical and everything. And that sounds so unbelievably corny, but
Well, no, because they've said throughout, it's inside of you. It's inside of you. So maybe because she doesn't believe it mentally, that is a physical way, like you said, of it getting inside of her, like it's already infiltrated the minds or souls of everybody else out there. So maybe that's the means of delivery for the wilderness being inside of her, because the other ones are more susceptible to believing.
yeah,
I don't know.
That's true.
I wonder what it is, because it's like, I don't if it's a different I think it depends on what part of Canada they're in, but it's like in a certain region there's like there's like Native American like ties or whatever. So it's like
Wendigo.
Yeah.
The Wendigo. Yep.
yeah.
I mean, the symbol, there's so many things, and we see the symbol on the altar. So it's obviously, making a resurgence. And interesting, this all comes about after the postcards too, bringing the symbol back in. So we see the symbol a few times in the present timeline. We see it at Travis's death. We see it on Ty's altar, and we see it in the postcards. Are there any other instances?
The text message that Jeff sends.
Oh, the text message. That's right. Which, by the way, I would love to get that code to send that as a text message.
Yeah. Can you imagine how long that took to do that?
Oh my God. So long.
I'm just imagining Jeff sitting there. Like,
yeah, really.
I don't even know if he'd be capable of putting out such an intricate text, but
yeah.
Wasn't he involved with like the mafia? Didn't he say that? Or was that
the
was
Russian mob? I think he said Bianca was tied to.
Something Russian like mob or Lottie's cult.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That would be something.
Right. But it's interesting though that the whole "wish you were here" thing. Now that we know that there's like still a wilderness connection in the present timeline, thanks to Bart Nickerson and Ashley Lyle. Oscar, did you catch that the reveal that kind of happened over the weekend?
No, what happened?
There was on Yellowjackets Instagram story, there was they were interviewing a bunch of them, and Ashley Lyle, one of the showrunners, mentioned that they had just been in the wilderness with Juliette Lewis and Simone Kessel, who's playing adult Lottie. So clearly there's going to be, a revisiting of that area in the present timeline. So that makes
the adults in the wilderness
a little more significant, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down for it. I mean, like, whatever they got cooking, it's bound to be good. So.
Yeah.
Some nice shroom stew. That's what they've got cooking. Cooking with Misty. Yeah. Well, Oscar, we would like to thank you for joining us. You're the first fan to join us on a regular episode, and we appreciate you being here. And who knows, maybe you can come back and join us for another episode if you'd like in the future.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Cool. Awesome. Well, hey, stay in touch with us on social media. Thank you for being here. And we're just going to wrap things up. So we're going to say goodbye to you, but have a great afternoon, and let's hope for some Emmys wins for our Yellowjackets tonight.
Yes. Thanks, Oscar.
Sure. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks, Oscar. Bye.
You too.
Bye.
All right. That was fun.
Yeah.
And, we should also shout out that we've had our friend Phoenix sitting backstage. I'm not going to bring you on, Phoenix, but you were our very first patron. You are an honorary antler queen. We bow to you and thank you for your support. And if you would like to join us on our Patreon, visit patreon.com/theantlerqueens. And we had another couple of patrons too. So along with Phoenix, we have Kylie B and Lucy W. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Yes,
thank you.
We've been working on the Patreon for a while, so I'm glad we've got it out, and we're still adding our exclusive merch and discounts there, so that's coming soon. But one of the perks in the higher tiers is being able to hang out backstage and watch us record an episode. So that's what Phoenix was doing today, and that could be you too someday. So join us on Patreon. Yeah. Our next character deep dive. Did we decide that we're going to do Shauna or?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's plan on Shauna. Although I think we have another bonus topical episode in between this one and the next character deep dive. But we've got lots of fun content on the way. We hope that you are staying connected with us on social media. And let's see, I was going to just put up our links here. Be sure you're following us at the Antler Queens on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Join our Patreon. We've also got merch at antlerqueenspodcast.com. So be sure to check that out. New designs are always coming. And again, big night. It's the Emmys. By the time this airs, they will be over and we will know what our Yellowjackets won or did not win. And
I'm excited.
I can't wait. I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
I've never had a more vested interest in a show
Yeah.
winning an award before. So.
Right?
I know. I'm just, oh God. I hope they get something.
I do too.
Really hope
They
get
deserve
something.
it.
They do. And you know what? Again, if they don't win, fine. Their first season, 7 nominations. That is fantastic. We've got lots of seasons down the road. And I'm very optimistic for the series as a whole. I think the fandom's amazing. It's gotten some great buzz. And now the Emmys are just going to elevate it to an even bigger level and reach.
I'm hoping in future seasons we see like some of the younger cast nominated too. Like for supporting or even for lead. But all their performances were excellent too.
Yeah, they really were. I mean,
every single one of them too. Every single one.
Yeah. They I'm so mad that they lost the casting win on this because just such an incredible job.
Yeah. It's crazy how like similar they found of people that like resemble each other physically and like emotionally, like all that kind of stuff. Because
the mannerisms of speech, particularly, I see it so much with Nat in particular. I love how Sophie really captures, you know, Juliette Lewis's mannerisms and the way she speaks. It's so spot on. They're all so good. Sammi Hanratty too. Again, her and Christina Ricci just bring Misty to life. The notorious MFQ is one of the best characters ever, and those two just slay at portraying her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. By the way,
I'm
the
sorry,
other
ones. I was just gonna say, and the other ones, and Jasmin Savoy-Brown and Tawny Cypress.
All of them. Jackie too.
Yeah.
Ella Purnell, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought she should have been nominated for supporting. She killed it. Like,
yeah, she really did. She was so good,
and it's her only opportunity, really. So
yeah, true.
I really like that she. I was reading about them casting her, and they said so many auditioned, and were just basically doing Regina George, and they saw her audition, and just like we have to have her immediately. But it's a shame. It's a shame that she missed out. But I think her career is. I mean, she's done a lot already, but I think her career is going to kind of skyrocket after this for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's going to take off. I mean, she already is. So
yeah. By the way, I saw a seriously messed up movie recently with Jasmin Savoy-Brown called The Sound of Violence.
I was just gonna ask if that's what it was. I've never watched it, but I've heard it's intense.
Yeah, it was pretty messed up. It's on Prime. And it's twisted.
We'll have to check that out. Oh, and Handmaid's Tale is out in 2 days, ladies.
Oh my gosh.
Let the patriarchy rage ensue. Yes.
I'm
love Handmaid's
excited. Tale. Are there going to be like two episodes available the first week?
Ooh, I don't know. I hope so.
Me too.
I'm like ready for all things Handmaid's Tale. Same. Trying to just, make it from now through Yellowjackets season 2 premiere.
Oh, another one to check out. Another show to check out. American Gigolo on Showtime. They've only had 1 episode so far, but it is excellent. Like, I'm hooked. in one
John
episode.
Bernthal's so good. He's such an amazing actor.
Yeah, he's
He's
really, really, really good.
Really
And he's
hot too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's really attractive.
Sorry, had to. City on a Hill on Showtime with Kevin Bacon and Jill Hennessy is also a good one. Have you girls watched that at all?
I haven't, but I've heard good things about it.
It's good. I grew up in Massachusetts, not in Boston
yeah.
itself, but the show takes place in Boston, so it's very like East Coast vibes. I love Kevin Bacon's character. It's a good one, kind of like The Wire a little bit,
Okay.
if you ever watch The Wire. But that's another good Showtime one to watch. So. Yes, well, I feel like we've covered Taissa Turner pretty well. One final shout out to Tawny Cypress and Jasmin Savoy-Brown for just absolutely nailing both roles in both timelines. Taissa Turner for president. I'm gonna keep saying it.
Yes, absolutely.
And if there's any Thai theory commentary that we didn't cover here, drop a comment wherever you're watching this. Send us an email, antlerqueens@gmail.com. We are all about the fans. We want to hear all your theories. Emily is super active on Reddit, so catch her there. Catch us on the socials. And with that, Kelly and Emily.
What's up?
Yeah.
Buzz off.
Buzz off.
Buzz off.
Antler Queens.